Welcome to another Unwinding with Fiber and Fabric. As you may notice, I have a little bit of wool here with me today because in just a few short days, Tour de Fleece gets underway. For those of you who may not know what Tour de Fleece is, Tour de Fleece is an international spinning event that follows along the Tour de France cycling race. As they spin, we spin. In our case, we spin with spinning wheels and spindles and even some electric spinners. But as they spin their cycling big event, we have our big spinning event. So I'm in full prep mode, and one of the fleeces, one of the fibers I'm going to be spinning this Tour de Fleece is this Romney that I purchased 2 years ago. Now, I don't intend to spin all of this during Tour de Fleece. I have some other fibers that I should be sharing with you in the video I post probably the day before or the first day of Tour de Fleece. So watch out for a video on July 4th or July 5th. July 5th is the first official spinning day. And I hope to have a video up showing you all the actual fibers I'm going to spin. Today's video is going to show you how this Romney fleece is going to be spun either by myself or by my son. It's been an interesting process putting this this fleece together because my son, who's been spinning for a number of years now, actually he's been spinning for almost a decade now, this year he has the opportunity to help me prep for Tour de Fleece. And in the process, he's learning how to do all the steps of preparing the fleece himself. So he and I have been working together to get quite a number of spinning fibers ready for him for this Tour de Fleece. This will be the first time he's been able to really dedicate a great deal of time and effort to this big event. It is not, of course, his first time participating in the event, but this is the first time he's had the time and availability to me, closeness to me, to really participate in the prep. So we have been preparing, we've been scouring some fleece, we have been carding some fleece, we have been combing some fleece, and we're getting ready to dye some fleece. Those of you that have followed my Tour de Fleece and my spinning videos in the past will know that, well, first of all, I started these videos 5 years ago for the 2020 Tour de Fleece. So in 2020, when we were really quite restricted by lockdown, I started doing these videos as a way to connect with a larger world. Oh, here comes Ringo to say hi. Wouldn't be surprised if we see other cats during the process. But in 2020, I decided to go ahead and start these little videos. I had never posted any kind of YouTube video. I had never done any vlogging. I had a blog that I'd been doing, pithyponderings.com, since 2012. And I decided to do this for a number of reasons. But never did I expect it to be something that continued after Tour de Fleece 2020. And here we are, we're getting ready for Tour de Fleece 2025. So in this video, what I want to be able to talk about is the Romney, this Romney fleece that I'm working with. I believe I share a video, and if I can find the specific video, I'll try to put it in the description below. But I shared this Romney after I purchased it, and I thought when I first purchased it, it was a huge bag. And it was a huge, massive fleece that I was in shock because it is a beautiful staple length. It's not an overly coarse fiber. I wondered if it was lanolin I was seeing on it. And when I first did the video, I thought it was lanolin. But it was after I'd opened it up and showed it on the video and shared that I realized it's not lanolin. This fleece has the yellowing on this fleece is what is called yoke. And yoke it stains. It can stain the fleece. And this one is very stained, but it is also extraordinarily good spinning fleece. Last year, I believe I used this fleece to spin a bunch of colors that I was going to use as embroidery, woolen embroidery threads, yarns. And I did a whole rainbow for a future quilting project or embroidery project in which we do some woolen embroidery on wool fabric. So that was what I did last year, and this is the fiber I believe I used for it. It's a really good spinning fiber. It's a good length. It is not horribly itchy. It's not, of course, anything like merinos and such, but for a beginner spinner or a spinner who's wanting to challenge themselves with new techniques, I highly recommend something like this. It is a good staple length. It has good structure. It's, as I said, not necessarily next to skin always, depending on your itch tolerance, but it's a good fiber. And so this year, I wanted to get through one of the last 2 buckets of this fiber and get it prepped. I'm pretty sure when I bought this fiber, one of the reasons that I didn't inspect it and determine if it was lanolin or if it was yoke was because here's this big, I mean, it was a good 10-pound fleece, I think. It was huge. I mean, it was huge. But it was being sold for little to nothing. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I purchased it for less than $40 US. So it was just mind-blowing, this massive, massive fleece. And I'm willing to try spinning any new fiber. I'm pretty brave when it comes to spinning fibers. Hold on just a second. Just off screen, I have a cat who has found a box, and the box had some things in it, and he's decided, in fact, it's Ringo who walked in front of the camera, he's decided that box needs to be his. And rather than having him sit over there making lots of noise, I figured I would go ahead and get the box ready for him to sit in. On the subject of noise, I hope that you can't necessarily hear the fan I have running in the background. Yes, we are still, as I record this video, we are still in a major heat wave. So I have to put up with a fan because this lady of this age needs to have some airflow. All right, so back to the fleece. This Romney fleece, as I said, that I purchased, it was a really wonderful, just being able to help the breeder get something from their fleece. I went ahead and purchased it. I hadn't spun a pure Romney before. I loved the feel and look of the lock. And as far as yellow yoke goes, all right, I have no problem with it for 2 reasons. One, it over dyes beautifully. So if you're looking for a white fleece, yoke's going to be a problem. But I actually really, this yellowing that you see, this yellow that you see, this is actually one of my favorite colors. So I have no problem spinning this just as it is, especially in Tour de Fleece, because every Tour de Fleece, I try to spin at least one yellow skein to be symbolic of the yellow jersey that the winner, the leader of the Tour de France wears. I also try to spin one rainbow skein in honor of all the different people who see the rainbow and find hope and courage to move on when they see the rainbow. So this fleece is fabulous, and we will, in fact, not long after I'm recording this video and getting it ready to upload, we will be dyeing some of these locks over here in some shades of rainbow. I will just give a sneak peek. This year, like a year I did before, excuse me, I intend to use ice cream product, frozen dessert, as my inspiration. So it may not be a full rainbow this year, but if you watch the next video, in the day, just the day before or the day of the beginning of the Tour de Fleece, you will see my rainbow, my rainbow sherbet inspired fleece that I'm going to spin this year. So the yoke on this, the yellowing of this does not bother me. I actually really love the color of it. It spins up beautifully. And most importantly, as I was saying earlier, this is a fleece that works really well for new spinners or spinners who are wanting to try new techniques. It is a very good lock length, very good lock length. It is a sturdy fiber, and it spins well. It cards well. It combs well. It is a good representation of a fiber that works for trying new techniques, trying new fibers, and most importantly, helping newer spinners get the hang of it, because it grips together well. It grips together well. It's easy to clean. It's easy to words. I think the heat's gotten to me. It's easy to clean. It's easy to prepare. That's the word I was looking for. So today we'll get right, now that I've explained all that, we'll get right on to what we have here. Those of you who are familiar a little bit with spinning may recognize these tools. Those of you with less familiarity might not. These are combs and these are carders or cards. So these are used primarily with spinning woolen and worsted prep fibers. Sheep's wool, you can use alpaca. I do know that you can use these for plant-based fibers as well, but I'm going to specifically talk about the animal-based fibers because that is the thing I like to spin the most. So I have my combs and I have my carders. And you may hear terms that are called woolen versus worsted. And the terms woolen versus worsted refer to two components of spinning: how the fiber is prepped and how the fiber is spun. And there are lots of great books and resources and articles on woolen versus worsted. The Spin-Off magazine is a wonderful place to go for a lot of those articles. But yes, woolen versus worsted. Worsted is usually produced with combs or combing the fiber. It is combing the fiber and then having the fibers in essence all line up and you pull off. This is actually from combed fiber, and it is what we call a combed top. Okay. Now, I know on the camera you can't really see so much, and it may look a lot like some of the rovings that spinners purchase, but this was produced with the combs. And just a quick, not going to do tutorial here, but just to show how it kind of works. You put the fleece, and I put a lot more on here, but I just want to do a demonstration. And you comb, and it opens it up and gets rid of the debris, and then you pull it off. You pull that off, and as I said, these are small combs, and they are, I'm just using a tiny bit of fiber, but now it is cleaned, and the fibers are almost entirely following the same direction, and that is a combed fiber. So you might notice some debris left on here, and in many cases, if the fiber that you're starting with is fairly clean, and I've taken the time to open up each lock just a little bit and get as much debris and any weak ends off the top before I am combing it. But in many cases, this can be used as, this combing waste can be used on your hand cards. So you put the combing waste, and this isn't combing waste, this is the locks that weren't quite intact after washing. They didn't have their lock definition still really easy to find, or they may have been shorter pieces than what I wanted here. So with the carders, I go ahead and put some of this fiber, and you'll see in this bucket, I have a whole bucket of this. So that is all of this stuff that just wasn't still in its lock shape and maybe needed heavier cleaning, more picking it open in order to open it up. And so I separated that because that, in addition to any combing waste, can be placed upon my hand cards and just, whoops, sorry for the noise, doing a little bit of that. And it's now carded. Now, you will see people roll this off really easy with the other carder. I am always impressed when I see people do that. That is not something that I do very well. A little bit of a dexterity and strength issue, just holding it. But that is a roll log. Now, I have a whole bin of roll logs. So you can take your combing waste or any of your fiber. Sorry for the noise. There's a lot of wood on wood here. You can take that fiber, put it in the cards, and this is what a lot of people see when they go to different places that people are demonstrating. You take your hand cards, you place it on here. I'll do it one more time, and you start carding it. Now, there is one other way to use the cards, and it gives, roll logs. I mentioned the worsted and woolen. Roll logs produce, and hand cards produce, a woolen prep. So, a worsted prep and a woolen prep. And I should mention that you can spin it directly from the lock and get what's really a worsted prep. And I like to do that quite a bit. So I have carded another section, but if you notice, these fibers actually now look like they are pretty much in alignment. The difference between these and our, here I'll show you this, our combed fiber is that there may be shorter bits still in here. The combed fiber has a tendency to really take, not just align all the fibers, but remove any of the shorter bits, the neps and noils. So if I take this off like this, you see I'm not rolling it into a roll log, I'm just pulling it off, all right, I can very easily spin from this. Now, is this a true worsted prep? Probably not, because again, there will be short bits, there'll be long bits, and there'll be some that fibers that are really not aligned perfectly. But can I spin from this? I can certainly spin from this. So we have a roll log, a carded fiber, and a combed fiber. And that is the two main preps, the worsted and the woolen. Now, how you spin worsted or spin woolen, to simplify it for this video, because I don't want it to be an extremely long video, to simplify it for this video, I will simply say, when we spin woolen, we take it off from here, and we can, to get a good woolen, we do what's called a long draw. And we spin, and as it drafts and twist goes in it, our arm moves away. Now, you'll see if you watch some of my other videos, my hands usually stay here right in front of my body. But I don't have my hands close together when I'm doing a woolen spin. When I'm doing a worsted spin, I tend to keep my hands closer together, controlling the twist and keeping a very, looking for a much more firm, stable, less fluffy, sorry, I have another cat, spun fiber. Again, I don't want this to be a tutorial. I don't want to go into deep depth. I want to talk about why am I doing it this way. So a woolen, a long draw is really great. A worsted, having a shorter draw is a little bit better to get a true woolen, or a true worsted fiber as a true woolen. Now, what do I mean true woolen, true worsted? If I have a woolen prep and I spin it in a woolen long draw style, I have what's called a woolen spun fiber. If I have it combed and I spin it with a little more control in a short draw, I have a worsted spun fiber. This has nothing to do with how thick or thin the fiber is. It really is about more how much air is left in and how smooth and silky, the fiber is. Worsted has often has a bit more durable. It holds the fibers together. It's longer, usually fibers that are really wrapped together well, and it's going to be strong and durable and last. Woolen is fluffier. It is has lots of air. It's sometimes much more squishable. But you can have semi-woolen and semi-worsted. And while there is a specific definition to what is a semi-woolen and what is a semi-worsted, my recommendation is if it feels right and you like the result, don't worry about if it's semi-woolen, semi-worsted, just embrace it. If you want to look into it more, as I said, getting some good spinning books specifically on the structure of yarn is a very good place to go. It is better than watching YouTube videos because it will help you understand. They'll usually have really good pictures. It'll help you understand what the qualities are, rather than just what it looks like, but what the qualities you're looking for as you spin. So I do recommend go to these wonderful manuals, these wonderful books and resources that are out there. Okay, but again, I wanted to cover why am I doing it this way? Well, the fiber, or I should say the finished yarn that you get from spinning from the lock, spinning from a combed fiber, spinning from a carded fiber, or spinning from this here, actually does have a name. It is hand-picked fluffy, and we call it cloud. Now, most of the time when we think about, oh, my poor old kitty just fell off the window seat. Can't do a video without cats, right? All right, hold on just a minute. Let me just see if she is okay. Yes. This is Kitty Putty. Her real name is Callie, but this is Kitty Putty. And she is clearly wanting a little bit of attention. And she is okay from having just not quite made it into the window seat as she was trying. Okay. So, that fiber on the end, it is technically what we call spinning from the cloud. If I wanted to just grab that fiber, it's been hand-picked open, I can sit down and spin. When we think of cloud, and I have a video on spinning from the cloud, I was actually spinning Angora, and that definitely looks like a cloud. Hand pick it open, maybe just a little bit flicking it open with a carder. If I had a whole pile of this that's been carded but not turned into a roll log, that could be spinning from the cloud, a whole pile of this and just grabbing piles and let it spin, letting it be random and not caring if the fibers are going in one direction, if two, in any direction. So spinning from the cloud is one option. So we have locks, spinning with fibers that have been combed, spinning from fibers that are carded, and spinning from the cloud. Each one, okay, there you go. Now you've had a little love. Each one is going to produce a different finished yarn with different properties. In addition to the fact that the fiber itself is going to change the properties of the yarn, how we prep the yarn determines the finished product as well. So there's three things that really will influence your finished yarn. The fiber itself, how we prep it, and then how we spin it. And so I've done this because my son is going to actually do a study with the Romney. He's going to spin some top. He's going to spin some roll-logs. He's probably not going to spin from the cloud, but he is going to spin some locks. So that is what he's going to do, and then he's going to compare those little skeins. He'll probably do just enough to make his own swatch so that he can have that for his own experience. This is the first time he's had an opportunity to do all the steps. He scoured this fleece. He has helped pick open some of the fleece. I've done most of it. And he has definitely done the combing and the carding of this fleece. So it'll be really interesting for him to try this. In the past, most of his fibers that he has spun have been prepped by somebody else. Oftentimes prepped by me. He has spun from a cloud before, but most of the time the stuff that was prepped were things that I had prepped or things that were bought commercially. So this is going to be an exciting experiment, and I wanted to share this with you. I've done this experiment myself. I've posted about it on Ravelry in my project spins. I don't remember what years I've done it, but I have done this kind of project myself, and it's a wonderful way to experiment and see how things compare. So, I now have cat hair. So the cat that I was just holding, Kitty Putty, or otherwise Callie, her real name, she has the finest coat of hair. In fact, her hair is comparable to our Angora rabbits that we used to have. And if you hold her, it does get all over your face. And she likes sleeping during the day. She likes sleeping on my bed next to my pillows. I always have to make sure that my pillows are covered, but the blanket gets covered with her. And oh my goodness, she is a fabulous fiber. And yes, we do groom her. And yes, I have spun some of her fiber. She's not usually the one that comes on camera because she's usually pretty shy. So it was a treat to be able to share her with you, even if I now have cat hair all over my face. So again, this is my project, one of the projects we are getting ready for Tour de Fleece. By the time another week goes, by the time Tour de Fleece is ready to start, I will have uploaded my projects, my spinning fibers that I'm going to do onto Ravelry to share. I will have dyed some of this lock so that my son has a rainbow and I have my rainbow sherbet, and we'll be ready to go. And as long as the head cold that my son now has does not linger in the house too long, we will be ready to start spinning by the time this video uploads. So I hope that you have enjoyed unwinding with fiber and fabric with me. A little bit more about this Romney fleece that when I purchased it, I had no idea what I really was getting, and I'm so thrilled that I did purchase it. One of the biggest things is, as far as a fiber goes, if I had a newish spinner, this roll log right here would be a fabulous way for them to learn, whether it is a spindle or an e-spinner or a spinning wheel. This roll log, this roll log of a medium length, medium weight, micron sheep wool. This is a good fiber for people to start on. It is a dream to spin. It may not be everyone's cup of tea as far as the coarseness, but as I've said in many of my other videos, having a good utility yarn, having a good utility fleece and fiber, it's good. It is a good thing. It is a wonderful addition to our spinning collection. We can all find ways to use a utility yarn if we think about it. Now, if you're not a knitter and you're not a crocheter, having utility yarn may not be your thing. Maybe you just do art. Maybe you give your your fiber way. But this is a good outerwear. It is a good utility, like if I wanted to make knitted bags, crocheted bags, the baskets to hold my fiber. This is a great yarn for that. It has a lot of uses, and if we move beyond the concept of just really, really uber soft, we will find a lot of great sheep fibers out there that are a joy to spin. I can sit and spin this for hours and not get exhausted. It spins up fast, it spins up delightful. So I will once again say, utility yarns, fleece that are great for outerwear and utility yarns and rugs. There's a purpose for them. And for weavers who want to weave rugs or placemats or hot pads, it's just a good fiber. And the fact that it has yoke on it doesn't make it a bad fiber. So always test your fiber, always take a little, do a little research, or do as I do. Ooh, I love the fiber and I will find a way to use it. And that is how I unwind with fiber and fabric. I always go with what gives me joy, and then I find a practical and a purposeful way to use it. All right, I am sweating like crazy and I need to go and sit in front of the fan really up close or get a cool drink. So until next week with Tour de Fleece, happy unwinding with fiber and fabric, and we'll see you again really soon.